Hi everyone. Look at Abby sleeping on my lap. She's ready to read a story with us today. Hi. I'm going to see if I can keep her there while I'm reading to you. So friends, today we're going to start learning about plants. And we're going to begin by reading this book called Jack's Garden. Before I start reading though, I need to let you know about something that happened, which is that over the weekend, my computer that I usually use to make videos for you just stopped working. The screen turned black and it wouldn't turn on. So I'm going to see if I can fix it, but until I do, I'm borrowing one of the computers we used to use in our classroom, and the video might look a little bit different. It might look a little bit dark, but I hope that you can still hear me, and I hope that you can still see the book while I'm reading it. And hopefully I'll be able to fix my computer pretty soon because I had so many important things on there to share with you. So today's book is called Jack's Garden, and this is the one that those of you who came to our Zoom on Friday voted for. You thought this would be the best one to read first. This is a fiction book, but it's also going to teach us a lot about seeds and how plants grow. So while I'm reading, I want you to think about what are some of the things that a plant needs to grow. Let's see if we can come up with 4 different things that a plant needs to grow. I bet you can already think of one even before I start reading. And while I'm reading and you're looking at the pictures, I want you to also think about how does Henry Cole use labels to help us learn more information while we're reading. So this is Jack's Garden. This is the garden that Jack planted. You can see Jack right there, and you can see he's holding a shovel. And down at the bottom is a watering can. It's hard to see, but up at the top there's also all kinds of other tools that you might use in a garden. This is the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. Soil is the scientific word for dirt. So does a seed need dirt to grow? That's the first thing it needs. What can you see in these labels? Here's some of the different creatures you might find living in the soil, like some different kinds of worms and larvae. These are the seeds that fell on the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. You can see the names of the flowers that Jack is going to plant and the names of the different seeds. This is the rain that wet the seeds that fell on the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. What do you know about rain and seeds? Do seeds need water to grow? That's 2 things they need. Let's see if Abby's enjoying this story. Abby, are you enjoying it? She looks pretty happy. These are the seedlings that sprouted with the rain that wet the seeds that fell on the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. Seedlings are the little green sprouts that come out of the dirt when the seed first starts growing. These are the plants that grew from the seedlings that sprouted with the rain that wet the seeds that fell on the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. These are the buds that formed on the plants. You okay there, Abby? Yeah, still okay. Let me start again. These are the buds that formed on the plants that grew from the seedlings that sprouted with the rain that wet the seeds that fell on the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. Do you know what a bud is? You can see some buds here in the pictures. Bud is spelled B-U-D, bud. A bud is like a little green, tight closed thing that will open up and a flower will come out of it. You can see some of them in the picture here. I'm sorry, with this camera, it's a little bit harder to see the beautiful illustrations. These are the flowers that blossomed from the buds that formed on the plants that grew from the seedlings, that sprouted with the rain, that wet the seeds that fell on the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. Some of the different names of the flowers that grew are black-eyed Susan, lupine, wild geranium, yarrow, mullein, and coreophysis. These are the insects that sipped nectar from the flowers, that blossomed from the buds, that formed on the plants, that grew from the seedlings, that sprouted with the rain, that wet the seeds that fell on the soil that made up the garden that Jack planted. If you start to memorize the ending part there, you can read it along with me. So the insects that carry the pollen from one flower to another are also really important to helping your garden grow. So far we've got soil, water, and insects. Do you know one other thing that seeds need to grow? We didn't talk about it yet in this book, but I'll give you a hint. It's up in the sky. I bet you know what it is. These are the birds that chase the insects, that sipped nectar from the flowers, that blossomed from the buds, that formed on the plants, that grew from the seedlings, that sprouted with the rain, that wet the seeds, that fell on the soil, that made up the garden that Jack planted. There's the birds. And this is the garden that Jack planted. There's Jack. He's looking pretty happy in his garden. And you can see there's labels for the birds. There's labels for the different names of the different plants. And they all grew so big. And that's the end of our story, Jack's garden. So what did you learn about what a plant needs to grow? You can tell me, or you can tell somebody who's watching with you. Look, there's Bob. Bob's my other cat. Now Bob's coming to visit Abby. Do you think they can both fit on my lap? Let me make them some space. Bob, do you want to sit here with me? Oops. No, that didn't work. Now they both got down. I should be reading you a book about cats today, huh? So that was Jack's garden. Today, what I'd like you to do, friends, is to go to Seesaw and think about your garden. So in Jack's garden, he planted a lot of beautiful flowers, right? What would you plant in your garden? Would you want to plant tall, beautiful flowers like that? Or would you want to plant carrots or potatoes or lettuce or tomatoes? So in Seesaw, you get to draw a picture and imagine what you would like to plant in your garden. The other thing I have for you today is, if you look down in the description, you'll see a link to Coach Ariel's newest PE video. So remember, you can do it today, you can do it tomorrow, you can do it every day this week. It's about 30 minutes of exercises that you can do with Coach Ariel, and your family can join you. It'll be a lot of fun, and exercise is so important for your body when we're learning at home. Okay, friends, I hope this video was okay. I hope you're able to see me and see the book okay. And I'm going to work on trying to fix my computer before I see you tomorrow. Bye.